Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Today I want to talk about some Pittsburgh Steelers training camp battles. This time 1 week from now, Pittsburgh Steelers will hold their first training camp practice back at Latrobe, PA, St. Vincent College for the first time since 2019. We know some of the big battles. Quarterback obviously will dominate the stories and the headlines this summer between Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and perhaps Mason Rudolph, but I want to focus on some other camp battles to watch for this summer. Starting things off with the backup running job behind Najee Harris, and right now that position and an opportunity is wide open. You have Benny Snell, who's really established himself well as a veteran special teams kind of guy, Anthony McFarland, and then some undrafted candidates in Jaylen Warren from Oklahoma State and Matteo Duran from Duke. Starting with Snell, you really have to appreciate a guy that was so successful at the SEC, was the guy at Kentucky. They beat Florida for the first time in almost 40 years while he was there. Be able to put his ego aside, the whole Benny Snell football mantra, to become really a solid special teams guy, doing the dirty work and not being the main cog in the offense. And so you have to respect him for that, and he's really served well as a multi-phase special teams player. You just wonder what the limited upside of what he can offer as a runner. And he's got some power, and that's about it, really. I mean, his efficiency's been poor, and I understand he's run behind some bad offensive lines and has been in some poor situations dating back to 2019, but I think his upside is pretty capped and maxed out, and he is who he is at this point, and ideally he's not going to be a number 2 runner behind Najee Harris. Then there's Anthony McFarland, a different type of back compared to the other guys in this running back room. Pittsburgh for so long has traditionally liked the guys who have a lot of size, the ones who are 5'10", 5'11", 220 plus. You think about Le'Veon Bell to Jalen Samuels to James Conner to Najee Harris to Benny Snell, etc. You get the idea. McFarland's not that type of guy. He's not a Dre Archer type, but he's certainly a smaller guy that was supposed to be the speedster, win in space, get out on the perimeter type of player. And through 2 years, it's just been really unfortunate for him. His rookie season, barely plays. He was an underclassman, redshirt sophomore in a COVID environment. That was difficult for him, and didn't play a lot and didn't play particularly well whenever he got the opportunity. Then last year, has that MCL injury surgery at the start of the season, misses the first 6-8 weeks of the year, comes back, and by then it's the Najee Harris show, and there really is no opportunity for McFarland. So 2 years in, the guy has 33 carries and has done very little to make a mark on the NFL. But I will say this, I think because Matt Canada is going to get to run his offense this year, there may be an opportunity and potential for McFarland to kind of be part of that. Last year during camp, McFarland was actively involved in pony sets, 2 running back looks, being the motion man, kind of being this wingback kind of a guy. And I think some of that speed is still going to be there. So obviously, it's hard to be optimistic about him, and, his roster spot is certainly not assured, but to me, he has the potential to be a more defined number 2 runner behind Harris, as opposed to Benny Snell, who is not, I think, as, good of a running back in terms of potential. But McFarland, year 3, we can't talk about potential and what you can be. It's got to be what you are and what you can bring to this team. And so this is obviously make or break for him, but ideally, he's able to put together a solid summer and be that number 2 behind Harris. 2 other names to mention, Matteo Duran, who's a little McFarland-like, probably even smaller than Anthony McFarland, ran really well at his pro day, 4.3, 840 for Matteo Duran. Kevin Colbert was there, probably really got him noticed. He has zero power in his game. He will not break any tackles. He's a guy that has to win in space and be able to run away from guys. Pass pro is going to be a bit of an issue given his frame. There's effort and there's 1-2, and it's not terrible, but certainly when he's 5'10", under 200 pounds, that's going to be a problem. This guy's a really good receiver out of the backfield. Didn't catch the ball a ton at Duke, I think around 20, 25 catches per year, but made some really high degree of difficulty catches with the Blue Devils, some really spectacular one-handed grabs or touchdowns or out of the backfield and things like that. So that's a guy that I think can be moved around the offense, can play in the slot, can be motioned out, and certainly someone who can be active in the check down game and the screen game, though Pittsburgh's running back screen game has been so poor for so long, so we'll see if that changes this year. Jaylen Warren from Oklahoma State, the other running back undrafted free agent, is a bit more that traditional bigger back kind of mold, about 5'10", 220, had a good career with the Cowboys, and so on paper, I would lean towards Warren having a better chance. I think Durant has the potential to bust off some big plays. I'm sure somebody will comp him to Willie Parker at some point if he's able to rattle off a 40, 50-yard kind of run. But there's an opportunity there for sure. I think Snell will make it, ideally as the number 3, and in terms of who the number 2 will be, who the heck knows at this point. And of course, Najee Harris will be the guy, the main cog, but if you want to give him a breather, which his team will need to do if he gets hurt for a short-term injury, misses a half, misses a game, whatever the case is, he was fortunately very healthy overall last year, though got hurt very late in the season. You're going to have to be able to turn to somebody else. And so the final point is, this may not be just a battle between the guys on the roster. Very often there's a running back who is cut at final cutdowns, a veteran guy who ends up on the street. And so Pittsburgh may, certainly could and probably should consider that option, an avenue as well, if McFarland and Durant and Warren can't separate themselves and prove they've earned that roster spot. It should not be given. There should be other options on the waiver wire. And so a veteran option who comes in right before week 1, running backs are pretty easy position to pick up on the fly. That's something to consider as well. So it's really McFarland, etc., versus the field, versus all the other potential free agents who will become available come late August. So that's the battle. Who wins it? I'm not sure. Again, ideally, Snell's the number 3, Harris, of course, your number 1, and then someone else emerges. McFarland, Durant, Warren, one of those guys becomes your number 2. They will not have to play. They should not have to play a lot of special teams. They could a little bit, but I think when you have Snell as your number 3, if they don't offer much, the number 2 does on special teams, that's okay. You're going to have Derek Watt and Connor Hayward, and of course your defensive guys, your linebackers, your corners, be able to, I think, shoulder a lot of that load. So I think it's there for the taking for McFarland. I have not given up all hope on him. I know some people have, and I get that. It's been a really disappointing first 2 years for Anthony McFarland. But I think if anyone's going to do it in terms of guys who are on the roster, it is him. So that'll wrap up today's review of that camp battle. Some more to talk about in the future before camp gets underway next Wednesday at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, PA. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think will be the winner of this running back battle? Which 2 guys will make it behind Najee Harris of all the guys we talked about today? Or will they go outside and sign a free agent? Certainly possible as well. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.